All right, we're live. I sure hope we get some people, Rick. It's kind of a nasty day out here on the Eastern Seaboard, but today I hope you join us. This is live on Facebook and YouTube. This is a presentation that Rick and I put together called Uncovering the Details in This Mystery Photo.
I think it should be called April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, right. And we'll get to that for sure. All right, we've got a couple of people, Rick. And I just want to say that this is brought to you by StreamYard. If you have any comments, you can post them either underneath the video on YouTube or on Facebook, and I will see them. Rick won't see them because he'll be presenting in a minute, and we'll answer your questions. All right, well, Rick, this is a live demonstration, so I hope people know that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, we're trying something new. I'm a little overwhelmed with techie stuff this week. But this is recorded. It will be on my YouTube channel and Facebook. And Rick and I talked about maybe even doing this as a crowdcast. We'll do some other live things because this is a great way for you to learn how to use Vivid-Pix. And I would say that I have a Mac and Rick has a Windows machine. So the interface that he will show you is the Windows interface, which is very different, or looks somewhat different from the Mac version. But you can still do all the same tips and tricks. All right, Rick, shall we give it just another couple of seconds? We have about 10 people right now, and I think we're going to get a whole lot more. So...
Sounds good. Well, I will share how Maureen and I started this, of saying that it is a rainy day in Charleston, South Carolina. And Maureen's response was,
it's going to snow here.
So we are both on the Eastern Seaboard, but a little bit of latitude difference.
Latitude difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. All right, well, let's jump in, Rick. Let me get my screen. So you hopefully, if you're tuning in, you know who we are. I'm Maureen Taylor, the photo detective. I love helping you identify, preserve, and share your photographs. And I'm joined today by Rick Voigt. Rick, you want to give your 30-second spiel?
Sure. I'm Rick Voigt. I've been in the photo business for an awfully long time. 10 years ago, founded with my business partner, Randy, Vivid-Pix. We started off improving underwater photos, and then we transitioned to improving old photos, and then documents, and lots of other things.
Yes, lots of other things. And so when I get really stuck, I send Rick these challenges. And this was one of the challenges, but I think it's so cool that we decided we needed to do a live and sort of show it off. So this photograph came from a woman by the name of Linda Lucas. Linda, if you are watching, I want to thank you so much, because all of the photographs that I see are, you know, they just push me a little further, because everybody's photograph is a little bit different, and this one in particular. So Linda sent in this photograph as part of a Photo Detective Roadshow that I was doing for a genealogical society. Now, the Photo Detective Roadshows are one of my favorite presentations. People that attend the event send in their photographs in advance, and they add them to a Google form that I have, where I ask you, what do you know about the picture? What do you want to know about the picture? And, you know, upload the front and the back of the picture. So when I saw Linda's, I was like, wow, this is a real challenge, but I'm up for it. And I knew Rick would be up for it. And so that's how I came by this photograph. If you're interested in having me do a Photo Detective Roadshow, reach out. They're really fun. They go for about an hour and a half. And then it's interactive, so everybody gets to share their pictures. It's sort of like Antiques Roadshow, only it's the Photo Detective Roadshow. We have a lot of fun with it. So I asked the question, what do you know about your image? So Linda said, Mrs. Lebowski is written on the back, and I suspect the boy on the far right might be my great-grandfather. So that's the little boy I pulled out. Oh, Linda, she's here. Great. So glad you're here.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. And this is the back of Linda's photograph. Now you can see there's some pencil marks on there, and you can sort of see Mrs. Lebelski, but it was pretty much a mystery. So let's go back to the photograph for just a minute, and then Rick's going to do a live segment. So here's the photograph again. So she thought her great-grandfather was the person on the far right. We have all these people. It's a family. Mom and dad is in the middle, surrounded by their 4 children, 3 of which are girls and 1 is a boy. Here's a whole lot of family information that she submitted. So she said her great-grandparents were Jonas and Rose LaBelle. Jonas was a tailor, and they had 5 children: Edward, Louis, Sarah, Samuel, and my grandfather, Mark. Okay, so all of us, right now, we know that there are 3 girls in that picture and 1 boy. And in this family, the LaBelles, there were 4 boys and 1 girl. So something might not add up. And most records state that Jonas and Rose came from Russia, although a couple specifically say Poland, Russia. Jonas was born sometime between 1840 and 1845. There are Manhattan City directories showing a Jonas Lebelski as a tailor on Clinton Street. The LaBelles are in Clinton Street. At the time of Edward's marriage, 1897, he was Edward Lebelski. But sometime between 1897 and 1900, he shortened his name to LaBelle. And Edward's descendants were the ones who came across the photo I sent you. And very faintly written in pencil on the back is Mrs. Lebelski. Well, Edward was born in New York City in 1870, also born in Russia. The second child was born in 1873, and on his World War I draft registration, he checked that he was a native-born U.S. citizen. So Linda has done a fantastic job with looking up all this family information, but the photograph was the challenge. Like, who are these people, and why do I have this picture? So they know that the Lebelskis immigrated between 1870 and 73. There's the back. What do we know about it? It actually says Mrs. Libelsky written on the back. And the clothing clues date the image to the late 1890s to circa 1900. So this is not Jonas in the picture. And it's not Jonas's children in the picture. And we have a date for the photograph. But I sent it to Rick. And Rick sent me an email. And this is what he said. He said, "Oh my goodness, you've sent me an April Fool's joke." And I said, "It is not an April Fool's joke. Sharpen those. Get your eyes checked. You know, get a new prescription for
That's a picture.
Another look."
I literally, and you'll see it as I pull up the image. I named it the mud picture. It looked like there was a blob of mud.
Yes, indeed it does. Because, you know, here it is. And so, Rick, I am going to turn this over to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to share yours. And then we'll come back and I'll weigh in again on what we saw in the back of the picture. Because it's cool. Ready? Okay, Rick, you are ready to go.
So Linda, I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for letting us share this image. So the way the Restore works is you simply click select image. You can choose 1 or more images. So here's
you named it a blob.
I named it blob. I had no idea what this thing was. So I open it up, and our artificial intelligence now is analyzing the image. And we have multiple algorithms for faded printer slide, badly faded printer slide, digital or cell phone cameras, which this obviously is not, faded document or text. Those are different algorithms depending on the image type. And then no image correction, but the ability to add metadata to the image file. So I looked at the difference between faded printer slide or badly faded printer slide, and I like starting off with badly. And I'm going to start off with the center image. Again, the way the software works, the software actually thinks that the center image is the best correction. Everyone sees lightness and contrast differently. So in the bottom left, we have more contrast, less light. And in the top right, we have less contrast, more light. So starting off with the middle. So within Windows, we have easy edit mode and detail edit mode. And within Mac, it's all kind of detail edit mode. So at this point, obviously I'm starting off with mud, and I now am able to read quite a bit more with one click. Now, vividness is an interesting tool because it's saturation, color saturation most specifically. So if I reduce the amount of vividness, I can start making this more of a black and white image without making it all the way black and white. And with a lot of old photographs and documents, you want to, I personally, personal preference, I like keeping a little bit of age to my images, even though they are a black and white. I like a little bit of age to show as opposed to going all the way to black and white. Technically, many images are black and white. And then two, I am able to adjust lightness and contrast. And I'm also able to adjust the sharpening, the amount of sharpening that we're doing at the pixel level to the individual images. So that's how the software works. So what I'm next able to do with this image is I can see that there's variability in either the amount of light that was hitting this image at the time of the taking a picture of a picture or the scan. So this is much more bright up at the top than it is down here at the bottom. And then with the correction, it's brighter still up here at the top than it is down here at the bottom. So if you click your mouse and drag and release where you wish that to end. So I'm just going to focus in on the name. And then I can recalculate the algorithm. So the way the algorithm works is it's looking at the area of the image that you wish the algorithm to be applied. So by cropping, I'm just applying the algorithm to this area. And I say recalculate. So this may not look as good because I've recalculated it and I've brought in the additional color. But see how much more detail I'm able to bring in. So I'm going to say okay, but then I'm going to go through that same trick of reducing the vividness. And now I'm able to see it even better. And now you're able to start seeing I'm cropping way in on the image, and that is causing the DPI, dots per inch, or PPI, pixel per inch, for some of the resolution to fall apart. So at that point, our sharpening exacerbates it, increases it, and that's why you're starting to see it fall apart a little bit. But I can simply reduce the sharpening a little bit, and I get that image better, and I can adjust fine-tune. So at this point, now a name I was not able to read, I now am able to read. And I can also reset the image crop. And as you can see, the algorithm is not as good on the rest of it because I was just zeroed in on this. So now this next section here is yet another area of the clue. And I can recalculate. It's going to brighten it up. I can say, okay. I can again play with that vividness a little bit. A little less sharpening. And now I'm able to start gaining more details within what this image is. I can reset. And now I'm starting to learn more about what this blob was. And now lastly, this lower area here, I'm going to recalculate. I'm going to click OK. Now, all this information that was not legible is now legible. Again, fine-tune the vividness a little bit, and you can play with lightness and contrast, make these things pop a little bit more. Contrast has a similar effect, or an opposite effect, it darkens things so that you're able to make things more legible to be able to learn what's actually here. And then again, I can reset the image. So if I want to go back to the full image, I clicked reset, come back here, reduce the vividness, and now literally the blob with one click is able to have much of the detail come out.
All right, Rick, I want you to do one more thing for me because
Sure.
I just noticed something else in this image that I hadn't seen before.
Great.
So below, there's all those numbers, right, which I'm going to address in a minute. And then there's a couple other letters. And then right below, I think I know what that says. There's like two little words.
Underneath COD?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what that says. So all these photographs that everyone has, they have stories within stories. And this one is a perfect example of that. I mean, Linda, this is just a fabulous image. If we can figure it out, we'll be in great shape. But so there's
the
a
last
lot of
thing I'd want to quickly share here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave the suffixes vivid, and
you're going to save it.
Yeah, I'm going to save it and have new type, because you're identifying new type. I'm going to add metadata.
Great.
So this is going to be Maureen Taylor. Linda, what's Linda's last name?
Lucas, Lukas. I can't see the metadata that you're adding.
It might be because of how we were sharing the screen.
Could be.
Through this platform. So I'm adding metadata. That's too bad. So I will save that, and I will save the image. And I will get this ready to share
in a minute.
The before and after.
Okay, great. Because I'm going to take you off screen, go back to the presentation, and then bring you back. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, let's do that. So I want to go back to this. This is Rick Live. So you saw all that work that he did on that image. And so let's just go through the fixins sections and what we learned. So we have a name, we have an address, and we have some numbers with COD, and underneath that, something else as well. The new information is that it said Mrs. Libelski, probably a misspelling by the photographer studio, 126 Ludlow Street, which is her address. And then there's price information, which looks like she ordered 2 prints of various sizes, and the total was going to cost her $2, COD, cash on deposit demand. And then underneath it said no deposit. So she hadn't actually left any money with the picture. So this is not Jonas in the photograph. It's not Jonas's children in the photograph. It was taken around 1900. It was brought to the studio by a Mrs. Libelski, who lived at 126 Ludlow Street, and paid $2 for not one, but 2 copies of this photograph. So who could have done that? That's the question, right? And when was it done? The photograph itself dates from 1900, but is that when Mrs. Libelski brought it to the studio to be copied? Probably not. It might have been later. So this came from Edward's family. So maybe this is in Edward's family, but then there's another copy in one of Edward's siblings' families as well, or with his parents. So there's lots of things going on with this photograph. It's a really complicated story. Now, I've been working on this. Linda's been working on this. We have not found Mrs. Libelski living at 126 Ludlow Street yet. But if we do, then it's a bingo moment. we know it is. So the next steps are to find a family with children ranging in age from 4 to approximately 10 to 12, so we can figure out who the people in the photograph are. They have 3 girls and 1 boy. Census records for 1900 would be great, as long as nobody dies, and messes up that 3 girls and 1 boy. The parents have some connection to Mrs. Lebelski. And then there's that fan thing that you do, right? The friends, acquaintances, and neighbors, perhaps. Maybe that's a way of finding someone that this is related to. So we have the image itself and when it was taken. We have the information on the back, which is not necessarily at the same time as the image. So you have to figure out who had the copy made. So it's a double mystery and a double story. Oops. And then Rick, I want you to put that thing back up, and then we have a sale for you for the holidays. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second.
Okay.
And then here, let's put the metadata back up. So we're not seeing your screen at all, Rick.
Let me stop share then, and then let me reshare, because now I have the image.
The before and after with the metadata.
So I've got the actual image file in the folder. So let me reshare.
You have that open on your desktop.
Yeah, in window, in there, and share. Seeing it?
Yeah, I'm seeing
my file
organizer.
Yep. So at this point, just to share that this was an important image, I wanted to be able to store information directly into the metadata. So this is file name, blob. So the original file was blob. I saved the image as blob vivid, which is a default setting, so you know that it's been Vivid-Pix fixed. New type, full resolution. And it's a very small image, so that, as I was showing before, that it was falling apart because it was a low resolution, is an extremely small image, in the original. So what is the metadata? So the original image was 57 KB. And then because we drilled into it, cropped into it, it comes down to 12. And then within the details, we named it Maureen Taylor, with the author of Linda Lucas. So what's fun about this, and this is obviously just being used as an example, is it's neat to be able to, 1, fix an image, then 2, be able to discover new things, and then 3, with that knowledge, be able to put that knowledge directly into the image file, and so that it always stays with it.
Right. So in the metadata, you're going to put Mrs. Lebelski, 126 Ludlow Street, how much she paid for the images, the 2 oversized images that were made, and the little details about no deposit and cash on demand, things like that. It's all very interesting. And I'm going to go back to my presentation because we want to thank you all for joining us for this Facebook Live. And by the way, I will be having more Facebook Lives in 2022. We're calling it a series Blast from the Past. And so, Rick, you're sort of one of the blasts from the past because you've been on the podcast twice, maybe 3 times. But we have a sale on Vivid-Pix on the Maureen Taylor site. So if you go to MaureenTaylor.com and scroll down about halfway, you'll see an icon for this. It's usually $49.99, but we're offering it for $40. So sign up. I'll have it up there probably through the end of the week. So tell your friends and family to watch this little video. It will be on YouTube and Facebook, and we might do it as a webinar with a couple of other ones that we have in the hopper, because this was really fun, Rick. It's nice to see someone who actually knows how to use the software as an expert show us some tips and tricks on how to get the most out of it. So does anyone have any questions for us? Oh, Sue's already inspired Rick. She's going to go off and play with one of her problem photos right now.
Fun. I'm glad.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions for us before we say goodbye? Really great of you to join us here in December, which is usually a busy month for everyone. And Rick, I want to thank you. And I hope you've all registered for Roots Tech. Rick and I have a conversation about metadata happening at Roots Tech, and we hope that you'll attend and ask us lots of questions. Anything else? All right. Well, then, Rick, thank you so much. And thank you all for attending. We'll have to do this again when we have some more mystery photos because it was a blast.
Thanks, Maureen. Thank y'all. See ya.